We're looking at page 32 of our pack. It's the last 2 pages. It's a chapter 4 review. It says, what is the best classification for this triangle? I'm going to let you do this, but we're talking about classifying by two things, the angle and the side. So make sure you know the classifications. On your test, the words will be in the direction. So, is it acute? Is it right? Is it obtuse? The sides, is it scalene, isosceles, or equilateral? So those words will be on your test. Now, I think you can do this one. What are the missing measures? I want to remind you that this is an isosceles triangle. So these angles are congruent, which we see, and then these are those vertical angles, that bow tie looking. And so if these two together are 100 degrees, wouldn't this be 80 by that triangle sum? And then that 80 bounces over here. You can find your linear pair and then your other piece. So I just wanted to remind you of that. Now, I know some of you are going to want to work on that and ignore me, but keep going here. So those are all things we went over yesterday. This problem says triangle SJL. You could draw it if you want to. It's congruent to triangle DMT. And it says which segment in DMT corresponds to LS in the other triangle. So see how LS is the outside two pieces? What will correspond with the LS would be the TD. That's all it wanted to know. What was the corresponding side? Okay? That was it. Again, you could draw them and label them all up, but if they did L and S, then you're going to do T and D. All right, this is the one that I really want to talk about down here. It says find the measures of the sides of triangle ABC and classify it by sides. Classify by sides. So classify by sides. So guys, we have to find these points. So find the point 1, 3. I'm going to get in here a little bit tighter here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure where your Western wear is that I heard about last night, but it's
there,
good. It's good for all of us.
It's there. Thanks for asking. That makes me feel good.
So 1, 3 is point A. B is positive 5, negative 2. So make sure you're labeling that. And C is 0, negative 4. So label your A, B, and C to help you. And honestly, I think I'm going to label this 1, 3. I'm going to label each point so I can see it. Now, this is a little more time consuming, but we did it, so this is why I want to bring it up. It says find the measures of each side. Well, unfortunately, none of these are vertical or horizontal. So do you guys remember your distance formula? So write this down or get out your little note card. X2 minus X1, quantity squared, plus Y2 minus Y1, quantity squared. That's what it looks like, your distance formula. So we need to find the length of AB, BC, and AC. So I'm just going to show some work down here, and I'm going to do AB with you just to remind you of things. All right, so segment AB. Remember we did that template for a distance formula? So template your distance formula. Again, you might still have that note card. That'd be great. And then I'm going to go from B, which is X is 5 minus 1. And then Y is negative 2 minus 3. Now, here's the part that you can do it in pieces, but we talked about not putting the whole thing in your calculator. Just bring the square root sign down, and we're going to put what's underneath, and we're going to use our parentheses. So what's underneath is parentheses 5 minus 1, close them, squared, plus parentheses negative 2 minus 3, close it, squared. So I get 41 underneath the square root sign. And if I take the square root of that, I get 6.4 approximately. So AB is approximately 6.4. So I'll transfer that AB over here as 6.4. Now, I'm going to let you do some of the other ones, but you now need to find the length of BC. So template that. You now need to find the length of AC. Now, if all three sides are the same length, then you have an equilateral triangle. If two of them are different, but two are the same, then if you have two the same, you have isosceles. If you have none of them the same, you have scaling. So you are going to use a distance formula to find those other two. All right, so BC and AC is what you need to find. Okay, next idea. It says, what information would you need? Okay, so what information do I need to know about PO, which is this one here, and LN? For the triangle LPM, LMP, and MNO to be congruent by SSS. What other information would you need? Well, I do have congruent angles, but it's only SSS. So all I have is that these segments are together. What else would I need, guys? SSS, I would need to know that PM is congruent to MO. What else would I need to know to use side, side, side? It doesn't matter that these angles are vertical angles. They want to use side, side, side. Well, I have a side, another side. Don't I need the third side? So I would need that NM is congruent to LM. Okay? That's what I would need to know to make this work. So it didn't matter that the angles were congruent. Now, if I wanted side angle side, I would have to have these markings. Okay. It says name the congruent triangles. So they gave you triangle KNM. What would that match up with? Well, they did KNM. You're going to do K to L to M. Triangle. That's a triangle congruence. All right. So which angle corresponds? So your answer should be angle something. It says draw a picture of the triangles too. So make sure you draw and label your triangles. Okay. And on the back, this is what I wanted to get to, is this guy. First of all, it says find PR if it's an isosceles triangle. This is what's important. Q's the vertex. So draw an isosceles looking triangle, maybe better than me. Mark it isosceles, and Q is the vertex. And if you remember your isosceles triangle, the vertex comes together from these congruent sides and congruent angles. This is called the base, and these are the base angles. So that's Q. I'll call this P, and I'll call this R. So P to Q is 4x minus 8, and Q to R is x plus 7, and PR is 6x minus 12. So it takes a minute to draw your picture and label it correctly. Okay? The big ticket is that one, it was an isosceles triangle. So you had to mark two congruent sides, and Q had to be the vertex. Those are the key ideas. Now, we want to find the length of PR. That's what we're looking for. But I don't know anything about PR, and you can't just set anything equal. What two sides are equal? These two, right? So you're going to tell me that since it's an isosceles triangle, PQ is congruent to QR. So you'll work through solve for x. Now, once you find x, you need to find PR, which is 6 times x minus 12. So the length of PR is what goes up here, not x. So you have 3 sets of sides, but these are the congruent sides. Set them equal, find x. Once you know what x is, then you can plug it in and find the side that we want. All right, you have one more problem down here. I'm going to remind you that you have a linear pair. So you can easily find this angle or this angle using the 180 minus 125. 180 minus 125. And then these angles are congruent, and then you can find your missing pieces in your triangle. All right, so go ahead and get to work on that.